The £1 billion blue bottle jobs. That was a cheers to the Chelsea tears.
I mean, Liverpool's then
Mental. Like, some of the kids that Klopp brought on in extra time, I was like, who the bloody hell is this?
I mean, you're never going to play a weaker Liverpool team.
100%. I heard the term subjective offside. What the fuck?
Is there a team in the Premier League that blows teams away like Arsenal do?
We had a mini disagreement in the pub. I said, and I stand by it, Saka is the best right winger in world football right now.
But Mo Salah, his output is outrageous. Just enjoy them both. Hello guys, and welcome back to the BoreDraw podcast, episode number 86. And it was a fun-filled weekend of not only Premier League football, but League Cup action. We saw Liverpool run out victors 1-0 against Chelsea in what was a very entertaining BoreDraw for 90 minutes.
Jeez.
Can you have an entertaining BoreDraw?
You can. Right here, baby. That was a cheers to the Chelsea tears.
Oh, mate, you just absolutely love to see it. Before we get on to the main topic of the podcast, which will be the League Cup final, I just want to say the footballing world lost an icon this past, what was it, Saturday?
Saturday, yeah.
Yeah, Stan Bowles unfortunately passed away. Massive Mr. QPR he was. So it's a big loss to not just us, but the footballing world. He's someone
QPR paid homage, got a win.
Yeah, well, we scored our winning goal in the 75th minute, which was the age at which he died.
Oh, that's mad.
So maybe it was meant to be, but yeah, terrible loss. He's a player that I never got to see, but knew all throughout my childhood. I mean, I saw the likes of Tarap and Ali Fowlin and all these great players coming and playing, and my dad would always turn around and say,
Ilias Chair?
Not quite Stan Bowles.
No,
not quite
true.
Stan
Yeah,
Bowles. But so yeah, it's a massive loss, and it would be nice to see all the tributes falling out to him. And yeah, moving on, let's talk about how another London club, the big blue BOTTLEJOBS,
the £1 billion blue bottle jobs,
as Gary Neville so eloquently put it. I think he summed it up quite well. What went wrong? Because Liverpool going into this game, we've done a little preview on it. If you want to go back and retrospectively check it out, we've done a preview.
We were pretty good in terms of saying it could be a bit of a cagey one.
I mean,
what?
Well, it always is between these teams.
Was it cagey or was it just an astounding lack of quality?
Oh, it was, and we highlighted that going into the game. I mean, Liverpool were without Mo Salah, without Darwin Núñez, two of their goal-scoring machines.
Jota
as well. In the midfield, they were missing Szoboszlai and Curtis Jones. They saw Ryan Gravenberch go off injured early on in the first half.
No Trent, no Alisson.
It
was Liverpool's B team before we even start the game.
Oh, 100%.
And then as the game proceeds, it goes to like C and D team.
And you pretty much had a full-strength Chelsea lineup. I mean, all but Reece James being available.
I agree,
and Thiago Silva. I mean, it was pretty much their starting lineup. I know they had Sanchez on the bench, but they decided to stick with Petrovic still.
Who I think had a good game.
Yeah, he was decent. And it wasn't... Both goalkeepers had a good game.
Mate, yeah, 100%.
Both defences had a pretty decent game. I mean, there were clear-cut opportunities. Chelsea probably had the more clear-cut opportunities.
100%.
But for me, it was, like you say, just an outstanding lack of any killer instinct in and around the box. I mean, we saw Cole Palmer miss a clear-cut chance. We saw Conor Gallagher miss one or two.
Yep.
We saw Disasi literally bounce one off his knee over the bar when he's basically on the goal line.
Yep.
I mean, we saw Cody Gakpo hit the post. We saw Luis Diaz have a few opportunities. It was an outstanding lack of killer instinct in front of goal.
Mm-hmm.
But it was all there for Chelsea. I mean, it got to like the 60th minute or something, and Liverpool was starting to look a bit leggy. I mean, Robertson looking a bit leggy, only just come back from an injury. Alexis McAllister looked really leggy.
Yeah, it was a weird one because, yeah, like you said, a lot of players look leggy in that Liverpool team, but I think it's just a case of injuries and players playing more minutes than they should. But yeah, Chelsea's kind of game management of this game was so weird. They started each half. They started the first half terribly. Liverpool looked like the better team, and then Chelsea grew into the game, dominated from about 20 minutes in, and then ended the half really strong. Go to half time, they come out at half time terrible. Liverpool start the second half stronger again. Chelsea retreated back into their shell, even though they ended the first half all over Liverpool. Like I said, so Chelsea retreated back and then grew into the second half again. Really strong going into the end of full time. And then the start of extra time, sit back again.
Yeah,
it's so weird.
And it's weird as well because they made loads of substitutions. They brought on Mudryk in the 90th minute. They brought on Madueke in the 97th. They brought in Chalobah as well in the 113th. It was weird. I mean, Nkunku only came on for Sterling in the 67th minute.
Yeah.
These are attacking substitutions, all bar at Chalobah. But yeah, like you say, it was weird. It was like they didn't have the belief to go on and maybe it's a team who don't have belief in themselves. I mean, they've had a rough season. They put together a few decent results here and there. I mean, they had a good performance against Man City. But you're playing up against, and I know the narrative has been the boys, the young kids of Liverpool. But you're up against players who have never seen first team minutes even.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So, like you said, the narrative was that Chelsea have bottled this. The £1 billion bottle jobs have lost to Klopp's kids. And that's a narrative, and I've seen Chelsea fans rebuttal that by saying, although Klopp's kids were playing, and Luke's giving me the stats here. So at the starting age of Liverpool's first 11, 25.8 years old. Chelsea's 23. So they start the game with a younger first 11. And then end the match, Liverpool 24.1 years old and Chelsea 22.6 years old. So both of those, by the start and the end of the game, Chelsea have a younger average age. But, and we were discussing this before we went live and recorded, it's about experience, isn't it? Like, you can be young. Saka is one of those players, 21 years old. Cole Palmer's one of those players. They've got minutes. And these players, although are young, you wouldn't call them inexperienced like the kids that came on for Liverpool.
I mean, going through the Chelsea team, Malo Gusto, how many Premier League games has he played this season? Disasi, how many Premier League games has he played this season? Colwell, really experienced, played all the games for Brighton last season.
100%.
Got England call up, played England international. Caicedo, not young, but
I think he's young. I think he's 21.
Oh, there you go then. Yeah,
but
I thought he was a bit older.
Two seasons at least.
Well,
in the Premier
and also
League.
£100 million.
And £100 million.
Enzo Fernandez, World Cup winner, young,
but still
£120 million, whatever it
100%.
was. Cole Palmer, Man City Academy, England under-21s World Cup winner.
Yep.
Champions
League winner.
Premier League winner, treble winner.
Yes, he's young, but that's experience.
He's been involved. He's been there and done that.
And Chelsea's main man this season.
100%. Conor Gallagher.
Yeah.
I mean,
don't actually know how old he is, but
he's not young, but he's been there. Season on loan at Crystal Palace. He was back at Chelsea last season, playing for them this season. Is that they're sort of out and out, one of their number 10s almost. I mean, Raheem Sterling, experience galore.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean,
probably
England,
one
Man
of the most
City,
experienced
Liverpool,
players in the league. Yeah.
Nicholas Jackson. I
Young,
mean, he played how many games for Chelsea this season? And then we go and just compare it to the Liverpool team. Kelleher. If it weren't for Alisson's injury, he wouldn't be in the team.
100%. Probably played 2 games max this season.
Minimal minutes.
Yeah.
He's a cup keeper.
Yeah.
He's young. Outstanding performance. Man of the match in my eyes. I mean, Van Dijk took the plaudits, but
Kelleher was insane.
Kelleher was incredible.
That first half save where from Cole Palmer?
Oh,
mate, it was crazy. Yeah.
And then in the second half of it, Chelsea had like 4 shots on target in that pinball.
So good.
And it was outrageous. Conor Bradley. I think he's started 3 Premier League games.
I was going to say, about 2 months ago, nobody knows who he is. Now
wasn't
like
it against Chelsea, he's like that game where he sort of burst onto the scene like a
either that game or the one right before that, and then Chelsea game was his like making. But yeah, like 2 months ago, nobody knows who he is.
And then obviously you've got Konate, Van Dijk, Robertson. That's a pretty solid back line, and no one's questioning that. McAllister, fantastic. He's experienced World Cup winner. Endo, 31, but what an absolute bargain he's proven to be. He was outstanding.
Yeah, I retract everything we said about Endo.
Ryan Gravenberch,
so
I mean, he's not really been implemented into the team too much this season. Not a starting 11 player anyway.
Yeah.
But he's a good player. He's got experience. I mean, he's played for big clubs. Harvey Elliott, young, but he's bought into the team a lot. I mean, he's played a lot, but he's playing second fiddle for Mo Salah, really.
Yeah.
Cody Gakpo, he's young. But, I mean, it's an experienced starting 11 from Liverpool.
And what you should talk about is the ability that Chelsea have on the bench versus the ability that Liverpool have on the bench.
Look, Chelsea's bench, I mean, Sanchez, Brighton's starting 11 keeper last season, I think got called up to the Spain national team.
Mudryk, 100 million.
Yeah, Mudryk, 100 million. Madueke.
England under 21 winner. He's played in the Eredivisie.
He's got minutes for Chelsea this season. Bettinelli, skip
Chalobah, at least 2 or 3 seasons in the Prem.
Yeah, Chalobah, I mean, he played a lot of games.
Yeah.
Nkunku only played a few games, but because
in the Prem, but one of the best midfielders in the world.
Oh, mate.
before his injury. Yeah.
Unbelievably. Gilchrist, Torreira and Gee.
Yeah.
I mean, rounds out a fairly stacked bench, but those sort of like unknowns.
Yeah.
I mean, Liverpool's bench.
Mental. Like some of the kids that Klopp brought on in extra time, I was like, who the bloody hell is this?
Joe Gomez.
Came on, had a good game.
Yeah, and we know what he's about. Adrian, keeper.
Bit part.
Tsimikas.
And they're the only three you could call senior experienced players.
Bobby Clark.
Yep.
I mean, he's only really seen minutes this season.
He came on, looked good, to be fair.
McConnell. Who?
Yeah, came on, looked a little bit kind of overawed by the occasion.
Kumas.
Don't know who you are, mate.
Dans.
Came on up top.
Looked
Not
decent.
nice head of hair.
Yeah, mate, banging head of hair.
Come on.
And I thought he looked like he was there meant to be
Yeah,
there.
he looked all right.
Kwanzaa, who we've seen
I quite like.
walk into the team a few times. He's
Quite
been
like.
well. And Nioni, who didn't get on the pitch. But I mean,
It's just crazy.
They're 6 subs. Clark, Kwanzaa, Tsimikas, McConnell, Gomez and Dans. I mean, you're talking academy. And even still, you're talking academy and then the backup players.
Yeah,
Tsimikas
so like
and Gomez.
you compare that stats that I was saying earlier, and it says that Chelsea have a younger average at 11 at the start and the end. But what I'd like to see, and maybe it's on Twitter somewhere, is total minutes played by the entire squad of Liverpool versus the total minutes played by the entire squad of Chelsea, because there's got to be a gaping difference.
I mean, the main point to take away from this is Chelsea couldn't have asked for anything more in their favour.
No.
To take this to Liverpool and dominate the game and come away with a bit of silverware and maybe something positive to sort of put a gleam on this pretty tarnished season.
They said it numerous times in the commentary. This is probably Poch's best opportunity ever that he's ever had and will ever get to get silverware.
I mean, you're never going to play a weaker Liverpool team.
100%.
And he's got all these players at his disposal.
Yeah.
Couldn't make it work. Like you say, they had spells in the game where they should have scored, where they dominated Liverpool and they were much the better team. But you're only as good as the chances you put away. And we'll talk about one of the chances that was put away but unruly disallowed. Van Dijk's header. It's not controversial in my eyes. I mean, it's controversial because they disallowed it, but
it's mental.
It's not contentious. I think Endo's doing a job. We see it week in, week out in the Premier League. I think you could go through probably 20 set pieces that happened this weekend in the Premier League, and you'll find the same thing happening.
I know you want to bring up Arsenal because they
obviously,
blockers, we've done an Arsenal video about how good they are at set pieces, and one of the key things is they congest the 6-yard box and they use blockers. And if you start getting rid of blockers, then there's going to be about 40 fouls a game every time there's a set piece.
I mean, the main thing here is that Van Dijk scored from a header. He's being man-marked by Chilwell. Let's not question that. He's being man-marked by Chilwell. Then VAR have gone to look at it for an offside, and Endo starts in the offside position, which we see all the time. He blocks Levi Colwell's run.
Yeah.
But he's standing still.
Yeah,
Levi Colwell could have repositioned. He could have curved his run. And then the argument is that he would have been there to stop that header.
Colwell's kind of path would have met the path of the ball.
But
which is
this is where there's a lack of experience, or a lack of footballing experience, game knowledge coming into play when these VAR officials are making their decisions. Because everyone who watched that, who's even played Sunday League, knows that Colwell wasn't intended to mark Van Dijk, which is a question to begin with. Because why is Ben Chilwell marking Virgil van Dijk?
And you know what's mental? And this is one of the most mental things I clocked. I tweeted about it during the game. I heard the term subjective offside. What the fuck is a subjective offside?
They try to play it off as like he's not directly interfering with play.
Brother, offside is black and white.
Yeah, I mean,
how can you have a subjective offside?
The problem is it took a long time for them to make that decision. It wasn't a clear and obvious error, and we're nitpicking now. We are nitpicking. You will find issues with almost every goal that is scored if you go to that level of detail.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't... Obviously, the Chelsea fans would have made a fuss about it, probably.
But even I saw, as scummy as they are, I saw Chelsea fans on the timeline saying, if that's what's happening in football and we're getting goals disallowed for that, then the game's gone, mate.
I mean, VAR has been given its chance, and we've given it numerous sort of like extensions to its deadline.
You've got to bin it off.
And it's got to go. I mean,
because you're never going to get rid of the people that are in charge. They're stuck there now.
Bring in the offside technology for the World Cup.
100%.
Improve the goal line technology as well.
Yeah.
And then, literally just for like corners and throw-ins, just have the lasers that go up the side of the pitch and tell you when the ball's out of play.
Yeah, because the Nicholas Jackson chance that was offside or not offside, we don't really know because the camera angles aren't correct. How can we not have correct camera angles to judge if Nicholas Jackson...
In the home stadium of English football.
It's mental. It's mental.
You can't... I mean, it looks offside to me.
Yeah, I think it was. But even still, like, some definitive clarity... to stop all the kind of speculation. It's mental that we don't have that.
Made it up and made up a graphic.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, it's getting to a point where it's beyond a joke. But Liverpool should have gone into extra time 1-0 up.
Well, then it would have been extra time.
Well, yeah. And then, fortunately for them and the man captaining them, he came in with another imperious header.
What guy?
And mate, I've been slated.
I've been bullying Luke.
Yeah. For my opinion, that Virgil van Dijk is one of the greatest centre-backs.
Check out that video. It's a banger.
In the Premier League, maybe of all time.
I think he might be.
But he man-marshalled that team to victory.
Yeah.
He was imperious is the word. He was outrageous. He was so solid. And when you've got a team of literal children on the pitch, you've got to have someone who steps up and takes charge. And he was. I mean, you can watch him throughout that game. He is barking it.
That's what I was going to say. It's rare that Liverpool are dominated because normally they're one of the best teams in the world and they'll go and dominate teams. But obviously, because of the fact that they had all the kids on the pitch, they were doing a lot of box defending. And yeah, that kind of just showed a different aspect of Van Dijk and Konaté's game that, yes, obviously going forward, they're insane. But defending the box, like you're saying, Van Dijk just barking orders, clearing everything. Just so bloody good.
And I think, obviously...
And then getting the winner.
The end of the game showed a lot about each club. And obviously Liverpool are going to be ecstatic. They've won, probably against the odds.
Klopp saying it's his best piece of silverware ever.
I mean, potentially.
He's won the Champions League, man.
I mean, yeah, but just the circumstance. Yeah. I mean, he's had it hard in a lot of finals. I mean, he went into the first Champions League final missing Mo Salah.
Yep.
And,
that's true.
He's come out of this final against all odds with a team of literal children.
Yeah, I feel like there's probably no manager in the world when the odds are stacked against you that you'd rather in your dugout than Jurgen Klopp.
Yeah, I mean, half these players who won a Carabao Cup trophy have gone into school today.
Come on.
That's nuts.
Doing GCSE.
Doing their GCSE revision. Jeez. It's nuts. And, I mean, we've got to turn lights to Chelsea. At the end of the game, Pochettino and all the players ignored Todd Bowley. I think that says all that needs to be said. Yeah. I saw Enzo getting rattled by Liverpool fans on the way up.
Such a funny video.
I mean,
it's deep, I get it. But Enzo can't, try and square up to him. Mate, you're a £100 million signing that's on, £400,000 a week.
Yeah, you won a World Cup. Shows
you can't be getting rattled by fans.
But, I mean, they don't look like a team.
Nah,
they look like a bunch of individuals. And for me... questions have got to be asked, really severe questions. I mean, how many managers can you go through without none of them being able to make it work? So how many players can you buy and none of them look like they're worth anywhere near their value? I mean, Enzo Fernandez, he's got everything about him that I like in a player. I mean, I love his profile of midfielder.
Yeah,
but he looked run out. Yes,
him and Caicedo were getting absolutely dominated by 31-year-old Endo, mate.
I mean,
we said when Endo got signed for Liverpool off the back of the Caicedo deal failing that we were like, he's kind of a bit.
It's a means to an end.
Yeah,
isn't it?
A bit part kind of will just do the job for the season, mate. He looks so bloody good. I saw Jurgen Klopp say that he wants Endo to sign a long-term contract.
He won't even be there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Every time I see Endo play, so bloody good.
Yeah, and he's understated, which is almost what this Liverpool team want to be.
Well, I saw he left the bloody game on crutches with his foot in a boot, and that shows that he was probably playing through an injury. Because he had to.
Mate,
there's no depth.
I mean, who else are you going to bring on?
Exactly.
I mean, he was outrageous. And this Chelsea team, it's going to be another big summer for them. Yep. Whether or not they have the financial power or the FFP movement to be able to do anything is another question. I mean, what can they do in terms of managers?
Well, I've seen they today, the rumours are that they're looking at De Zerbi.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like you said, I don't know if they've got the FFP kind of movement for that. One thing that I do want to say is this is like the end of Chelsea as we know it, I think.
Yeah. I mean, they had their time where they sort of falsified their place as an English powerhouse.
Yeah.
But the Abramovich era is over, mate, and it's not easy to get to compete for a long term.
Now it's hard to compete. And I saw Rory Jennings say, I didn't know this was an actual kind of record fact, but you probably know that it is because of how many trophies they won. But apparently since 2005, Chelsea haven't gone 2 seasons in a row without winning silverware. Todd Boehly arrived 2 years ago. They haven't won a silverware since. So it's already, in his first 2 seasons, they've lost that record.
Their last silverware the Champions League?
Huh?
Was their last silverware Champions League?
Yeah, and they haven't won anything since. And that's all been since Todd Boehly's arrived. So as much as the players on the day, terrible, Pochettino hasn't really moved mountains as a manager, you've got to look at the ownership. The ownership have been in the job for 2 years and not even regressed. They have just completely collapsed this club.
mean, maybe we need to just realise the fact that Chelsea are a plastic small club.
Mate, you can tell me and Luke have no love for Chelsea, especially when Liverpool won the match. Our Twitters, both our personal Twitters, were going crazy for Liverpool.
Don't support Liverpool when I was running around the room.
I fucking hate Liverpool, but I hate Chelsea even more.
Yeah, I mean, it is what to say. I mean, the big blue billionaire BOTTLEJOBS sums it up, and you can take the man out of Tottenham, but you can't take the Tottenham out of the man. So it was a double whammy for Roz over here. Any more you want to add on that?
Nope, let's move on to my brilliant boys.
So we were at the pub on Saturday.
Night, yeah. Who's doing a Premier League match, especially Arsenal-Newcastle? Like you said, the Geordies are coming down for an 8 p.m. kickoff, which won't finish till 10 p.m. Then you've got to get all the way back up to Newcastle. That's a bloody nightmare. Luckily, what we did for them as a favour is we battered them so hard that they could leave early.
Yeah, I mean, what an outrageous game. I mean,
I was worried going into this game. Our recent form has been insane. Probably best team in the league. But
off the back of that Porto game.
Yeah, off the back of that Porto game, it was sheer kit. And our last few results against Newcastle haven't been great. And so I was a little bit worried. But yeah, mate, even like the first 5 minutes, we just laid down a marker. We were just on them, pressing insane.
This, for me, was the worst Newcastle performance in a long time. Maybe ever under Eddie Howe. And that is testament to just how good Arsenal are. We know, you said it on your Twitter, I think, is there a team in the Premier League that blow teams away like Arsenal do? That dominate and strangle teams. I mean, you said they're going into half-time with the 0 XG.
And that's happening every single game.
I mean, it's incredible. Arsenal are so good. And we go on about them every week, funny enough, because he supports Arsenal. You would have thought. But Newcastle, I mean, they started with Livramento left back.
Yeah, I've seen like
a lot of their fans have been calling.
I was going to say Newcastle fans are calling for the end of Dan Burn, and they were given that. Tino Livramento, who we both really like, we think he's a really good fullback, can play right back and left back. Didn't have a good game, mate. Saka gave him nightmares.
Saka, Martinelli, and Havertz.
Yeah, let's touch on Havertz first, and then we'll talk about Saka. Havertz now has more Premier League goals this season than Marcus Rashford. 60 million down the drain, Kai Havertz scores again. He's starting to find his place in this Arsenal team.
I think he's starting to realise what he does well.
I think Arteta has kind of given up with this Havertz left 8 situation. He's playing him through the middle. I think that comes in part with Gabriel Jesus' injury. But he's playing Havertz down the middle, and he's just such a good kind of person to have up top.
He's a nuisance, isn't he? Like, because people underestimate him and they let him run, and he makes movements in brilliant positions. It's his decision making and his sort of composure in front of the net, which is
and he's physical as well. Like he's a big lad.
He's tall. Yeah. He's a good platform to build off. I mean, his link-up play is really good.
Yep.
And I think he's starting to come good, and Arsenal fans will feel vindicated on this now because
100%.
60 million seemed like a lot for a player who couldn't get going for Chelsea apart from a Champions League winning goal.
And it still is a lot, but you can just tell he's a confidence player. And now the confidence is starting to get there. He's starting to get goals. I really like what he's doing. And like I said, 6 goals, that's more than a lot of people are putting on like Rashford. He's got more goals than, I know, XYZ. Jack Grealish.
Yeah, I mean, he's done really well. I mean, Martinelli, I think, had a good game as well. He was menace from minute 1. For Havertz's really, goal, just such a direct runner. He gets to the byline. We saw him for that goal. Was it the 3rd goal? Where he comes in at the back post and saves that ball almost.
And and gives it to Havertz for the goal. Yeah, he's so good. And then
Jorginho, mate.
Poor man of the match. Is there a more underrated midfielder in the Premier League? we're actually going to do a video about one, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, Jorginho comes in, and what he does is just knit play so well. We said this, he's a tempo man, and he just comes in, keeps the ball rolling, and against teams that we're suffocating, which is pretty much every team now, he's good there to kind of just get the play moving.
If you have 55, 60, 65% of the ball, he's just such an asset.
Yeah.
It's the games where you don't have that. But I mean, I can't see anyone in maybe the world who are going to dominate Arsenal like that. Even Man City, I don't think can.
Yeah, we'll go toe-to-toe with them, yeah.
Declan Rice, another outrageous game.
Let's talk about my bloody boy, Bukayo Saka, because we had a mini disagreement in the pub. I said, and I stand by it, Saka is the best right winger in world football right now.
That's only because Salah's injured.
I think what Salah does is just score more. He's better at getting the ball in there. He's a more clinical finisher than Saka. But I think Saka is involved in more of the play, more of the game.
He gets involved deeper, doesn't he?
Yeah.
His link-up play is better. He doesn't rely on outrageous switches or like just being a direct runner, which I completely agree with. And I think, obviously, if you're let's say like a PSG or someone, and you wanted to like build a Galacticos, you'd much rather have Bukayo Saka for the next 5 years than Mo Salah. But Mo Salah, his output is outrageous. And
his output is unquestionable.
And there's just something about him. He's not always the best to watch, but you just know that at some point during that game, he's going to get an opportunity and he's going to put it away.
Yeah, 100%.
And which is, for me, like he's not one that goes and curls it in from 30 yards.
No.
But Saka would do that.
Yeah.
Like, we've seen him do that. Saka's set-piece deliveries are outrageous. I mean, having him and Declan Rice is a cheat code. But yeah, I mean, you say Saka's involved in the build, but Salah's got more assists this season, isn't he? I think he's on 9.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know, but just Saka's,
I know exactly what you're on about. These are things that you can look at the stats, but the stats don't tell the story.
Yeah, just watch football with your eyes. And the guy is 21 years old.
Yeah.
He's had a club that's been in turmoil on his back from the age of 18.
Oh, 100%.
And he has carried us into title challenges, now into the Champions League, and he's just getting better and better. I saw last season everyone was saying he's had an insane season. I think he got 25 goal involvements over the season. He's beaten that already.
Yeah.
And we're in February.
Yeah.
The kid's cracked.
Let's not play a game here where we beef each other.
No, I love
and
you.
Beef other football fans where we say, right, who's better? Because they're two different players. They play the same. They occupy the same position. They play in two teams with completely opposing styles of play. They're asked to do different things. Just enjoy them both.
Come on. Messi and Ronaldo. Jeez.
But they are both outrageous players. Good. And the debate's there. And that's what we love about football, because it's a game full of debate and opinion. Is Eddie Howe's time up? Because we've questioned this many times in the podcast after they crashed out the Champions League, even before that.
Yeah.
After a torrid run. I mean, they've been hit with injuries.
Big time.
They've lost Tonali, who was sort of their marquee summer signing.
Pope's been out the whole season.
I mean, starting with Karius in goal is not ideal.
Not ideal
I mean,
at all.
Dubravka's not bad, but he's still a step down from Nick Pope, who's still a step down from even David Raya.
Botman and Shaw have had their injuries this season. Callum Wilson's been out a lot this season. So they have been hit with a lot of injuries. But, like I said, I don't know, it's an interesting one, because, like, last season we said they overachieved. They got Champions League probably quicker than anyone expected.
We said they are 2 or 3 years ahead of, maybe even more ahead of the project.
And that's probably taken a toll on the squad, which we've said. Like, they probably weren't expected to play this many games at this kind of level.
It takes a toll on the fan base and the ownership, because their expectations are high.
Yeah, big time.
How can you sort of beat, what was it, a 3rd place or 4th place finish? 4th place finish, reaching the Champions League after literally the season before being in the relegation zone at Christmas.
Yeah, it's insane. And that kind of begs the question. It's like, what do the ownership do? Do they axe off Eddie Howe now in the hopes that, so there's managers on the market, there's Jose, there's Hansi Flick. I know Jurgen Klopp said he's taking a break, but Jurgen Klopp will be too cool. There's a lot of managements, and Nagelsmann could come back. There's a lot of managers available that are better CV than Eddie Howe. But if they're willing to kind of lower their expectations and say, we were overachieving, we don't need Champions League again this season or next, then you stick with Eddie Howe and kind of give him another transfer window. You give him all the players that were injured come back. You give him Tonali back, and you build from there. But if they go with this cutthroat mentality that we need Champions League football, which they might do for FFP, to be fair, then you've got to get rid of him and get him a big hitter, Jose, Hansi Flick.
Mate, I think Jose is the one.
I'm seeing Zidane's going to come out for Bayern. Mate, if you can somehow just put all the money on Zidane's plate and get him to Newcastle, that'd be crazy.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see Zidane at another team other than Real. But yeah, I mean, for me, Newcastle, it could get really ugly really quickly. I mean, let's just have a quick look at where they sit in the league table.
Is it 9th?
I think so.
It's 8 or 9.
So they're currently 9th in the league table. I mean, 2 wins in their last 5. 37 points. I mean, they're sitting behind Gary O'Neill's Wolverhampton Wanderers.
It's not good enough.
They're a point ahead of West Ham, but West Ham have a game in hand. Chelsea have a game in hand. I mean, they could very quickly drop into the bottom half of the table.
Which, for a team that's spent as much as they had, we know they've got FFP kind of sanctions looming. So, yeah, it is a make or break time for Newcastle at the moment, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we can take a quick look at their upcoming fixtures just to sort of really give us an idea. Right. They've got Blackburn at Ewood Park on on Tuesday,
and then they've got Gary O'Neill's Wolves side.
I mean, they're fighting a lot. The team's sitting just below them and
in and around them. Yeah,
they've got Wolves at home. Then they've got Chelsea away. They've got a game against Palace, who smashed Burnley 3-0 under.
Shout out Glasgow's first game, yeah.
And then
they've West Ham, who's next to them. Yeah, so they've got a lot in and around them that are coming up. And
I mean, by the time they play Everton, who have just got that 4 points handed back to them, Everton could be on par to take over them.
Yeah, it's an interesting time, and games are coming thick and fast now for Newcastle, so they've
really got to put together a run here.
Buck up their ideas.
They're still in the FA Cup, which, I mean, it could maybe be something they could target, but time will tell. Eddie Howe is getting a little bit.
Let's talk about one team that are probably the funniest team in the Premier League right now. A team that, form-wise, I think we're probably behind Arsenal in terms of best form. Manchester United. They haven't been great, but they've been getting results. Against Luton, they weren't great, but got a win. Who else were they rubbish against? Wolves. They were 3-0 up, and then Wolves got it back to 3-3, and then Man United scored a last-minute winner under Manu. Yep. So they've been scraping wins.
But they've been getting over the line, and that's important.
And Ten Hag, you can build momentum from that. You can do stuff with that.
We've seen them play well recently. Like there have been patches where we've seen them play better than they have all season.
Well, they blew Wolves out of the water in the first half of that game. Luton, I think they were 2-0 up in 5 minutes. They blew Luton out of the water in that first 10 minutes. So
the patches are there.
They are.
But I mean,
mate, they are just fragile.
They
boys,
weren't
mate.
good against Fulham.
No.
And Fulham are a good outfit. I mean, they've proved tricky for a lot of
we said that
teams.
In the video that we last uploaded. Shout out Jacob. We did a ranking every team season so far. We mentioned that Fulham, some games, they absolutely pull up trees. They battered Arsenal. They did well against Liverpool and did well against Man United. But then some games, they just look terrible. But yeah, this game, Fulham, really good.
Yeah, I mean, so Fulham went 1-0 up on Calvin Bassey, who we've slated a little bit on the podcast. An absolute pile driver into the top bins.
Then Harry Maggs,
yeah, in the 89th minute, rescuing what seemed like a point for United. And a lot of people were going, they're going to go on to win this.
Well, yeah, there was about 10 minutes added time, and all the kind of momentum was in Manchester United's favour. But
I mean, it was written in the stars.
It's just appalling game management.
How Alex Iwobi is scoring 97th minute winners against you that is the new history of the Man United.
Well, it's terrible game management because you see Adama Traore go on, and you know he's probably the best ball carrier in the Premier League.
Was it Garnacho or someone who looked at him and went,
Jesus Christ, yeah. And so you know that he's there, so you don't pile every single play you've got in the box to try and get a winner, because you know if you get him on a counter-attack, he's going to burn every single play you got. And that happened. He burnt one of the centre midfielders and then burnt Harry Maguire and then played it into Iwobi, and they got the winner, and it's mental.
I mean, this comes off the back of, like you said, a really good run of form for Man United, and it's this inability to manage games and to impose yourself for more than just 15 minutes at a time. I mean, you're looking at this Man United team and they have 20 minutes of really solid play, across a 90-minute game.
Yeah.
It's not good enough to win.
No.
I mean, you're not going to win every game off the back of McTominay coming on and scoring a last-minute winner.
It's such
you
a
can't rely on
tricky
things like
kind
that.
of situation they've got themselves into now, because Man United are the biggest club in England and probably in the world. They should be dominating every game from minute 0 to minute 90. They should have 60+% possession. And you've got your manager of the club coming out and saying, I want to be the best transition team in the world. I don't really care about possession. And that's all well and good if you do go on and be the best transition team in the world.
Or you
like
see
Liverpool.
evidence of it.
But you can't be like flip-flopping between being a transition team and then not being a very good possession-based team. It's just a mess.
I mean, it's obviously an issue that Rasmus Højlund was just starting to find some form. He's got an injury. It's going to keep him out for a little while.
Same with Luke Shaw.
So the main issue that I want to get onto is Marcus Rashford and Bruno Fernandes. Is it time to cash in? And I don't even know what you're going to get for them.
No.
Because Marcus Rashford, he's not even young anymore.
No.
You
probably get a dumb club like PSG.
PSG, maybe they're going to have not going to have Mbappe money, are they?
Yeah.
But I mean, they're going to have money to spend probably.
Well, they said they want to make like 4 marquee signings in the summer to replace.
They're going back to their roots of after one season of buying like French-owned players. I mean, but Marcus Rashford, he is Mr. Man U almost, but maybe it's just going a bit sour. I mean,
there's too many toxic characters in this team. Too many characters that have been at Man United during this terrible era.
I mean,
there's only so much faith you can put into them, but the common denominator is not Ten Hag, it's these players and the ownerships, which has been changed now. So the last common denominator is players that have been around for 3-4 seasons. You're talking Lindelof, you're talking
Maguire,
Rashford, Bruno Fernandes.
I mean, I saw Real Madrid apparently wants to reactivate a clause to get Varane and Casemiro back. Why would you want them back?
I'd take that if I was Man United, get them
Why
out.
would you want them? I mean, for me, we spoke about this last summer. They need an overhaul, and they need to really sit down and identify the kind of players, the atmosphere they want to generate within their club, because it is rotten. I mean, Bruno Fernandes, what a child.
Mate,
and I've been a staunch defender of Bruno Fernandes.
I think he's the biggest rat in football.
On his day, he's the most outrageous player. But you can't have your day be 2 games a season. You're the number 8, but you're the number 10 of
the biggest club in the world. And you're rolling around begging for fouls, and then the moment you don't get a foul, crying, the ref turns around and the play comes back to you, and you get up and shoot up and you're ready to go.
It's ridiculous.
I
mean, he had captain's armband. He's not the guy you want in charge of your club. You probably get maybe 60 million for him,
mate. If you sell him for 60, Rashford for 80,
I don't think you get 80 for Rashford.
I think PSG would be dumb enough to do that much.
But it's all there. Get rid of those.
Yeah.
Get in some new young players. I mean, Højlund, I think he's got enough about him to
like him a lot.
Yeah, keep him.
Kobbie Mainoo, who we've got a video coming out on. We think he's a big baller.
Yeah,
they've got assets there,
mate. Even get rid of Onana. You don't need. What you need is stability. You want good characters, and these people just scream issues. I mean, he's being flamboyant on the pitch. Yeah. I mean, they brought him in to be able to play from the back, and then they put people in front of him that can't play out. So you've already stunted him. So maybe it's time to just get rid of him anyway, and maybe get like Henderson back or something. I don't know.
That's not even a bad shout.
It's rotten. They've gone for weird signings this summer, and I think they need to keep with Ten Hag. I think the Man United fan base wants to keep with Ten Hag, but how much longer can you give it? I mean,
it's the thing is like you can blame the players as well, but like the style of play isn't really there that much, and it's like he's been here for 2 seasons.
There's questions about how he's handled situations within the club, how he handles the press. He doesn't really defend his players. Yeah, there's a lot of issues. There's a lot of issues going on at this club, and it is rotten to the core. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we wrap up?
No, shout out Crystal Palace first result under Glasner, 3-0 win.
Jack Robinson having a scrap with his own teammate.
Oh yeah, that was mad.
That's funny. Apparently people were going, that's what Chris Wilder wants.
Yeah, but he came out and said as long as it stays that side of the line, he's happy with it. So yeah.
But yeah, guys, we have a proud announcement to make.
Buzzing.
We have become an affiliate of classicfootballshirts.com. I'm sure you've heard of them. They are massive.
The biggest football shirt selling, buying company in the world.
In world football.
In world football.
But yeah, they have just an absolute ridiculous amount of authentic shirts, signed shirts, match worn shirts. They've got everything. So if you want to go check it out via our referral link down in the description and pop in code BoreDraw10 at your checkout to get a 10% discount. And let us know if you make any purchases via that. Let us know. Give
tweet
us a shout
us
on the pod.
Insta us, let us know what you buy. But yeah, use a referral link, BoreDraw10 for 10% off. And you're supporting the boys, you're supporting the podcast.
Yeah.
So yeah, much love
Everything
to
we
Classic
see out
Football
of that
Shirts.
goes straight back into the podcast. If you haven't already, go and check out our video that was uploaded on Monday. We did a ranking all the Premier League team seasons so far with Jacob Horsfall. Horsfall?
Yeah, big video.
Yeah, absolute banger of a video.
So that's part 1. We cover the first 10 teams. And then part 2 coming out soon. We'll cover the second half of the league.
But big shout out to Jake for coming on.
Yeah,
absolute
legend.
boy. Fantastic ball knowledge. And it's a great video, so go check that out as well. Guys, it's been BoreDraw, episode number 86.
Oh, mate.
And it's live.